I'm the Philly Godfather, and this is my buddy Jimmy the Sheep Battista. He stopped by today so we can let the members of the PhillyGodfather.com get a better idea of who he is, when he started gambling, and exactly what he does. Jimmy, when was the first time you placed a wager?
Many moons ago. I was 18 years of age. I was working as a waiter in Lewis's restaurant in Clifton Heights. I used to work for a man named Lou Lombardo.
Well-known, respected bookmaker.
Throughout the suburbs of Philadelphia.
What year was that? Do you remember?
1983.
Wow. That's when the Sixers won the championship.
Yep.
Do you remember what who you bet on?
The Phillies. The Phillies was the first bet. There was I was a waiter working in the restaurant at a restaurant, and for a lump, it was Lewis's restaurant. He used to be working behind the line, and you know, the game started at 7:05. It was a baseball game, and we were so busy one time, and I used to hand him bet slips back while he was working, and
that's how it all started.
That's how it all started.
And from there, how did you end up in the betting office in Delaware County with the Animals, with all those guys?
Through the next 2 years, the transition of working for Lump, I moved on to another affiliation at September's Place in Springfield that Mike Rainier owned. I waited for him and managed his restaurant facility for a while. Then one Friday afternoon, it was like 1:30, he said to me, Sheep, he said to me, Jimmy, I think, he goes, I need someone to
Did you have the nickname by then already?
People called me Baba already, but Sheep really didn't. People knew me as Baba back then. Then it was one Friday afternoon, it was like 1:30 afternoon, I remember, and he needed someone to go to Vegas. He said, you want to go to Vegas this weekend? I was dating some girl then. I said, yeah, what do you need me to do? And then he just looked at me and goes, I need you to make a run for me. I said, sure. A few hours.
What was the run? What is a run?
At that point, I think I had, I took like $70,000 to $75,000. He said, you got to bring money out to the desert for me this weekend. I said, no problem. And he goes, you can hang out at Caesar's Palace, maybe bet a few games for me, catch the red eye back Sunday night, and be back Monday morning for work.
So let me get this straight. He gave you $75,000.
Yes. You
put it in the suitcase and just jumped on a plane?
No, I strapped it to my body.
Did you have some kind of belt, money belt? Or?
No, I didn't. Actually, I just put, there was stacks of it, just put it around my waistline.
It was all hundreds, right?
It was all hundreds. It was all hundreds. Put it around my waistline, suited up, got on the plane, had a few beverages on the way.
And then that's the first time you went up and down the strip betting?
And then it's the first time. And then my love affair with sports betting began. I stayed at Caesar's Palace, and I remember the order, go under 55.5 in one college game, and I just remember I saw 57s, and I was like, this is too much fun. And we were picking off numbers back there, which were good.
A lot easier back then.
It was back in the day.
We had a bigger edge. Win percentage was a lot higher.
There was no, the information took a lot longer to get out there, so that to pick off numbers back then, you could run the streets from Little Caesars to Stardust to different places that you got unbelievable numbers at. It was one weekend turned into the next few seasons of me going out, back and forth, flying back and forth, and working until I actually moved out there.
What year did you move out there?
Well, after working with Mike and a few other of the animals in the office, all the way up to the early 90s, there was a lot of problems in the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah, I remember, who was back then? It was John Stampa?
Some of them guys. And at that point, we chose that, you know what, for us to go out west. So we copped into a car, drove out there, and we stayed out there for a season or two. And that's where we start to see the real numbers and the value of the games out there. The casinos were real money, and at that point you had a better chance of getting paid, and plus
with no headaches.
No headaches. Nobody bothering us. Just pure betting, grinding, betting, and earning.
Right. Now, I remember in the office I was in, I think it was over by the Lamb Tavern. You were in there, Tiger, Rooster, a couple other guys. Seal was in there. Tell us a little bit about that office.
That office was set up pretty good. At that time, we were like moving for a lot of outfits from Vegas. At that point, we'd get a call, go out in a game,
Who was the guy calling us?
We would move for the computer. Billy would be calling the office saying Toledo -7 or whatever the order was, and then we'd be off to the races. In that time, we had a plethora of different movers from the Philadelphia area that when we got the games, you know, we were hitting everyone from New York, Boston, Chicago.
Up and down the East Coast.
Right, up and down the East Coast, and then we just attacked the numbers, and we were moving the games. We went from betting just not moving for the computer during the baseball season, we were moving for the poker players, whatever sport it was. So it was a 7-day-a-week operation. It was year-round. The only day we didn't work was All-Star break, because the only thing that was going on at that time was the All-Star game.
Right. Now, I know personally back then I was moving about 30 times a game. How many guys were in that office?
At one point, I remember seeing about 29 to 30 clerks.
Wow.
So there was a lot of movers, and people had sub-movers. You know, it's kind of like a stock firm, really. You know, go lay Microsoft minus 42, hedging everything possible, and you know, and it was like an order. You would go out on it. Go lay the Yankees minus 37 cents, and it was just a ripple effect that went across the country. And we would move everything possible. It didn't matter what sport it was. It was hockey, boxing. I mean, I remember when the O.J. Simpson verdict was going, that we were moving on. We had a good affiliation with a lot of lawyers in Philadelphia, and we were bearing the decision that O.J. was going to get off. And we were trying to get down so much possible and that he was going to be not guilty.
Let me ask you a question. Do you remember that Seton Hall-Villanova game?
Absolutely.
How many points did we move that game? I think it opened up at a pick, right?
We moved a few. I haven't seen games move like that until I...
and nobody knew why we were betting it.
And nobody knew why we were betting it.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there was a couple of the starters not playing that we knew about.
Which really helped.
And that's information not factored in the line is what's gold.
Absolutely.
And that's what the members of the PhillyGodfather.com have to understand. Like, we're giving you the sharpest, best information in the world from the sharpest gamblers. And that's why I brought in Jimmy. He's one of the biggest movers. He gets the best information. And that's why he's here. Now, moving on, when you moved out to Vegas, what were your biggest headaches? What was the biggest problem out there?
Well, you were competing to get down in the casinos with there's a lot of sharp outfits out there also trying to bet the same games. And you had to build up relationships with these casinos that you'd be there on a daily basis, you know, working and fighting for the numbers. I mean, there's a lot of casinos out there, but at this time in the early 90s, there's a lot of sharp outfits out there. Now, the internet really hasn't taken off at that point. All the instantaneous information from Instagram, videos, pics, and everything like that wasn't really out there. This was the early stages.
Right.
So it was in our best interest to attack every casino and get every number possible.
Getting the best of the number.
Getting the best of the number. We're taking 7.5 on football games and 7 on football games, and by the time, you know, when it hit New York or hit offshore, the game was already 6.5 or 6. So it worked out well. And also, like, during the early stages when there was no computers, they would order games like go take 6 on a football game. Go take Giants plus 6. Well, Giants plus 6 was, you know, back in New York and the Philly areas, bookmakers were using 6.5 and 7.
Yeah, they had newspaper lines.
And they were using newspaper lines, your dime store bookmakers, your corner bookmakers, which were the basis and the beginning of everything, which was beautiful. They had soft numbers, and it was our job to attack every number possible.
Right. Now, moving forward, what caused the breakup of that office and you, Tiger and Seal, moving to a different office and going out on your own?
Well, the people have different personalities. They have different things they want to venture into. The two groups kind of split and they went their separate ways. You know, some people wanted to earn more off the booking end and betting end, and you know, personalities come into a factor. And at that point, the group split. Some guys went down south, to work, and some guys went to the desert.
Right. Some guys went to the islands. Do you remember that one-on-one basketball game between me and Tiger?
Yes, I do. Did you get paid?
No.
Okay.
Tiger's brother was refereeing, and Tiger thought it was fixed.
I know a little bit about them things.